Good morning, all, and welcome back to Coffee with Craig, our Saturday morning weekend edition. Before we get started, once again, please remember to like and share these videos and subscribe to our YouTube channel and to our Facebook page. We've seen our numbers growing, and it's largely because y'all are spreading the word. And because y'all are spreading the word, we are having an even greater impact on legislation, both federally and in various states around the country. And that's all because you guys are on the ball. So thank you, but keep it up. Before we get started, I wanted to let you guys know tonight we're going to be doing some live feeds from Sacramento Black Rifle. They've been a longtime supporter of the Firearms Policy Coalition, actually since our inception, and they were supportive of gun rights even before then. So we want to help them celebrate their 10-year anniversary. They're going to be holding an event for it was yesterday and today, but tonight they're going to be doing kind of a VIP kind of reception. I'd like to encourage you guys to come on out. It's going to be from 7 p.m. until about midnight. It's going to be at their store there in Citrus Heights at the corner of Fair Oaks Boulevard and Elkhorn Boulevard. We're going to be hosting, it's late at night, so we don't do Coffee at Craig at night. What do? We do Booze with Deleuze. That's right, we're bringing it back. You guys seem to enjoy it when we did it at SHOT, so we're going to do it again tonight. We're going to have some guests on talking about various different stuff, and we're going to have a good time. So we hope that you folks will join us this evening. Now, moving right along, wanted to remind you guys, we are in the midst of a fire mission. That's right. Right now, Congress, we're hearing that H.R. 4909 is going to be amended, and it is going to be including the Fix NICS legislation. Now, H.R. 4909 is not a good bill. Fix NICS is not a good bill. You can read, if you just follow the link in the description of this video, you guys can find out all about it, or you can watch yesterday's Coffee, and you'll see why we have issues with these bills. But the most important thing is that if Fix NICS is amended into H.R. 4909 and passed over to the Senate, then concealed carry reciprocity, which is in H.R. 38, will not get a vote, and we will not get concealed carry reciprocity. So it's vitally important that we encourage folks to not support this bill and not support Fix NICS, or at least not in this bill. So here's what we need you to do. We need you to follow the link in the description of this video. Or if I can make it real simple, stopfixnics.com. Go there. You can send a message to everyone who's going to be voting on this. You can also, the switchboard number will be there as well. Just be there in the description. You can call the congressional switchboard and tell your member to vote no on this particular measure. So that's where we're at. Please get active and engaged, and remember to spread the word. All right, let's get into it. Let's talk about today's topic. Now, you guys know, a couple of weeks ago, I did a story dealing with, when an anti-gun story goes horribly wrong. So many people are so interested in doing an anti-gun story that they really don't bother to do a lot of fact-checking and making sure that the information that they are putting out there is actually accurate and correct. So oftentimes what happens is you wind up with a story that is completely and utterly nonsensical and full of misinformation. This particular story was dealing with a gun buyback program. And really what it was doing, the story was about the fact that a member didn't want gift cards to stores that sold firearms and ammunition to be able to be handed out during these gun buyback programs. But I used an opportunity when I testified on this to talk about the larger issue of gun buybacks, their effectiveness, but also kind of the hypocrisy of saying that we don't want to promote guns. So let me let you see the story, and then we'll talk a little bit more about really just how bad the story is on the other side.
It's a program used throughout California to get guns out of homes and off the streets. However, there is one aspect to the way the program works that one assembly member says is counterproductive, and she's introducing a bill to change it. Handguns, rifles, and even at a San Francisco event, a rocket launcher. Gun buybacks draw people looking for a no-questions-asked opportunity to turn their firearms into law enforcement in exchange for money. A recent gun buyback in San Diego, similar to the event you see here, was so popular, law enforcement had to turn away people because they ran out of gift cards. But the type of gift cards authorities were using to pay people at that San Diego buyback caught the attention of State Assembly member Lorena Gonzalez-Fletcher.
Let's make sure that those public funds are used in a way that ensures that it's not going to go to additional gun and ammunition purchases.
At that San Diego event, people were able to get Walmart gift cards for guns. Gonzalez-Fletcher's problem with that? Walmart is a major gun retailer, and though their California stores don't sell guns, Walmart is the largest ammunition retailer in the state of California.
It seems counterproductive that we'd be saying, here, let me buy back your old, useless, illegal handgun, and here's a gift card for somewhere you can purchase either a gun or ammunition legally.
Today, the Assembly's Public Safety Committee held a hearing on Gonzalez-Fletcher's new bill, AB 1903, which would ban gun buybacks from giving out gift card to places that sell guns or ammunition, such as Big Five, Dick's Sporting Goods, and yes, Walmart.
Tell me who does not shop at Walmart.
Craig DeLuz with the California Firearms Policy Commission spoke out against the bill.
They rush to do something to stop gun violence. People think that doing anything is the same as doing something.
He says lawmakers are ignoring the bigger picture, which is whether gun buybacks are effective, and says communities would be better served by law enforcement tracing the origins of the weapons turned in and cracking down on people who illegally own them.
It is an utter waste of time because they don't want to do what they really need to do, and that is go after criminals.
The bill passed out of the Public Safety Committee and heads to the Assembly Appropriations in Sacramento.
So, all right, first of all, let's be clear. We are called the Firearms Policy Coalition, not the Firearms Policy Commission. I'll forgive her little slip of the tongue, but that's the sort of stuff that matters, right? That's the sort of thing that makes you wonder, does this person really know or understand what they are talking about? Now, first of all, I wanted to note, did you guys note the number of big, black, scary guns that they had in this particular piece? I always find it hysterical because it seems like their whole goal is to scare people because look at all of these big illegal guns and people who owned illegal guns. First of all, let us be clear. Most of the firearms that are turned in to these gun buyback programs are not the big, black, evil, scary guns. Most of them are guns that have been sitting in someone's closet, probably in a drawer somewhere that hasn't been used or hasn't been fired in an extended period of time. And quite frankly, people are just looking to get rid of them. So that's the point number one. But the idea of even going to the stores and showing, once again, the ARs, even though Walmart doesn't sell firearms in the state of California, they had to mention Walmart and then have the pictures of the ARs there in the story, even though they don't sell guns at all. But that once again, it's all about the imagery, right? They have to push the imagery. That's the reason why they do things like this. Because every story about a gun buyback program has to include the obligatory rocket launcher. Because rocket launchers are evil. And there are so many crimes that are committed in the United States with rocket launchers that evidently, because someone has a rocket launcher, you would think that they would be hard to get, right? Well, yeah, a functional rocket launcher is, by the way, ATF, just ATF if you're watching, DOJ if you're watching, not functional, replica, not functional, not replica, that's a replica right there, not functional. So please don't come breaking down our doors. Anyway, but that's the stupid thing is that yes, functional rocket launchers, you can't get them. And these things that are being handed out, they're replicas, or they are single-use rocket launchers. Meaning, as soon as you use it, it's an empty tube. Now, a lot of times you can pick these things up. You can spend a couple of $100s in order to get a nice one that looks nice to either put on your desk or mount on the wall, or you can do like some folks do, and you can just go on eBay. Right? I don't know if you guys can see this, but here's one on eBay for $18.99. Purchase it now, $18.99, and get your replica rocket launcher. Then you take it to the gun buyback program and get $250. Assemblyman Reggie Jones Sawyer was saying it was so popular when we held these at LA. Man, they ran out of gift cards. They ran out of money. Do you know why they ran out of money? Because a study was already done is that there are people who are what they call gun buyback profiteers. They go and they buy cheap guns, whether out of state or wherever they get them, right? They're able to turn them in, no questions asked, right? They turn these things in to law enforcement, no questions asked, and then they go ahead and they get their money. Now, they buy them $20, $30, $50, and they turn around and they get $100, $200, $300 from the government, making money off of these programs. We know that these are not effective. Every study done, whether it's done by pro-gun or anti-gun folks, say, yeah, gun buyback programs really are not effective, but they're good for the media. And that's really about it. But see, there was a much deeper issue that I focused on in my testimony, and that the reporter in this particular case chose to completely and utterly ignore. And here's what it is. But the other challenge that we have with gun buyback programs, it is literally a way for criminals to dispose of firearms that has been used in the commission of a crime with absolutely no consequences and no questions asked. We believe that this measure should at the very least be amended to require the recording of of serial numbers and information, ballistics information on these firearms to determine whether or not they are involved. They have been involved in any crime. But with that, once again, the idea of putting government money into a program that allows for weapons that are used in the commission of a crime is just ludicrous. All in the guise of saying, well, we want to reduce the number of guns, or we don't want to put an image out there that we support firearms. Well, let's just be clear. Other than those who sell the firearms, the number one profiteer or the number one group that receives the most resources from gun sales and ammunition sales is the government. The number one purchaser in the state of California of firearms and ammunition is the government. So if we want to reduce the amount of ammunition, the amount of firearms that are out there, if we really don't want to promote firearms, then maybe it ought not be a business that the state of California and local governments profit from and participate in. It is with this that we oppose this measure unless it is amended. Thank you. So when I said oppose unless amended, like I said, what we said we wanted to see was, look, you need to make sure that these guns aren't being used in the commission of a crime. These gun buyback programs promote no questions asked. Turn it in, no questions asked, right? Meaning that if I've used a gun to commit a crime, say murder, and I decide that I'm going to turn that firearm in, well, guess what? They're going to take it and they're going to melt it down, and no one's going to know where what happened to that firearm. It is insanity that this is what they believe, that they believe that this is okay. Now, the other thing that I wanted to note as a part of this was, the author was like, well, I can't believe that he's talking about we don't want law enforcement to have guns. No, what I'm saying is this. Other than the retailer or the manufacturer, do you know who profits more from these sales? It's the same as with any of the other quote unquote, sin taxes. For example, sales tax on guns and ammunition. That goes straight to the government. That's depending on what county you're in. That can be anywhere from 7.5% all the way on up to almost 9-10% of every transaction. Oh, and let's include, what about dross? Every time a firearm is drossed, that goes directly to the government. Now, you may not think they're profiting, but guess what? They keep instituting programs, taking the money from dross to the point where they darn near bankrupted it. Now they're going after the firearm safety fund. That's another fund. Every time if you go to buy a gun, if you're the first time buyer, you have to pass the firearm safety exam. You pay an exam. Guess what? They're borrowing money. They're taking money from that fund. And then, let us not forget, Starting in 2019, there's supposed to be background checks for ammunition. There's going to be a fee for that. More money to whom? The government. So they're the ones that are profiting from it. You can't say, and then they're using it to fund their pet programs. Same way they do with tobacco, big evil tobacco, but yet, hey, they got all these programs. They can't wait to hop in line to get them their government check. They do the same thing with alcohol. Same thing with fast food, the soda tax. You got places like San Francisco who have a soda tax. All these things are so bad and evil that we now have to profit from it. I think that's a little hypocritical, don't you? Oh, I almost forgot about marijuana. Well, we all know we don't want our children using marijuana, so let's make sure we get some education money from marijuana. I just, the insanity of it. And here's the thing. These folks know this is an issue. They know what I'm talking about there is an issue. But the funniest part is how they pretend like, well, really? Is that not the case? Is that what really happens? Yes, it is what really happens.
The other thing is what Mr. DeLuz brought up is I believe they do check the serial numbers, but I'll double check. And if they don't, then it should be added to the buyback program. And if I have to come up with some legislation to do that, then we should, because I think they have some kind of way of knowing where the guns came from when they buy them back. But again, I'll double check.
Yeah, no, he's got to double check because he doesn't know. Now, this is the chair of the Assembly Public Safety Committee. One would think that he would know that, but he doesn't. One would think he has a consultant sitting right next to him who would know that. But these programs, and you guys know, you've seen the stories, these programs are almost solely, hey, honor system, just come give us the guns. We don't care where they came from. Just go ahead and you do you, right? Just go ahead and and get them over to us. So anyway, that's once again another anti-gun story where, quite frankly, the facts don't matter. But that's why we're here. We're here to make sure that you have the facts, that you are armed with the facts, so that as you go out there, whether it is onto the interwebs or whether it's talking with your friends who might be open to the idea of actually talking about and conversating about these issues and learning something, you are put in a position where you can effectively communicate on these particular matters. Once again, we want to thank you guys for tuning in, for participating with the Firearms Policy Coalition, and letting your friends know, and liking and sharing these videos, and letting them know about our Facebook page. This is the home in the fight for civil rights. We've got to use them or we're going to lose them. Hopefully, we will see you guys tonight.
If you like our videos, follow, subscribe, like, and share.